Good day and welcome to another one of Taft's tutorials. So today I'm going to run through the basics of putting together a whole song in Reaper. What I'm trying to do is assume as little knowledge as possible. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start off with you've got your transport buttons here, and over to the right there you've got your tempo settings. For this song I'm going to set a tempo of 130. If you've got the idea of the tempo of your song and you're not sure how much it is in beats per minute, if you look at the cursor and hover just over the beats per minute, it turns to tap. And if I tap my left mouse button to a time, it alters the tempo of the song to actually fit that. So but what we're going to do is we're going to go over the top of it and we're going to go 130. Now this button here switches the metronome on and off. However, what you might want to do initially is go to the metronome pre-roll settings, which brings this up on the screen, and it sets your metronome up. I like to set it so that everything's at 0 dB, so that it's a nice loud metronome. I like to have a count in before recording, but not a count in before playback of 2 measures. So that means that when I hit the record button, it gives me 2 bars to get used to the tempo, and it gives me that count in before I start. So I can start right at bar 1 without any issues. So we'll close that down, and to give you an idea of this, what we'll do is we'll just double click here to open a new track, and if I hit record, you'll notice that the playhead doesn't move. It doesn't start recording for the first 2 bars. So we'll hit record. Ready? Oh, and we do need to arm the track. So and now, so we'll stop that. We'll delete all because we don't want that track there. We'll delete this track. So we've got our tempo set up, we've got a good loud metronome. I don't like to use the metronome too much because it's a little clinical for my liking. I like to start off with some kind of drum beat. Now we'll open a new track. I use a MIDI drum kit in. Now when you open a new track, you won't see this like this because I have actually changed some of these in the settings. I've gone to the theme adjuster, and I've so I put it so it shows absolutely everything, and I've got my volume as a fader and so on and so forth. You can do that too. There are plenty of videos on it. I'll make another video later. We're going to click on effects. First, we're going to put MT Power Drums on. This is something that I've downloaded, MT Power Drum Kit. It's a free download. There is always the option to give a donation. I gave a donation and then changed my computer. So we'll skip. Here's the drum kit. Now, I've already gone through this and seen which of my drums lines up with what notes on the keyboard. So what we're going to do is select 2 bars. Well, first we're going to turn on the snap in so that we actually select 2 bars properly, and insert new MIDI item. This creates a little MIDI item that we can loop. In the input MIDI, and we're going to go into the virtual MIDI keyboard on this. So all channels, and because I'm absolutely terrible with anything to do with keys, we're going to right click on here, the little record button there, and we're going to go track recording settings, and we want to quantize the MIDI recording to 16th notes, the nearest value. So if I'm slightly early or slightly late coming in, look, it's going to quantize to the 16th note. And our settings are going to be record MIDI overdub, because what we're going to do is, like I say, I'm not very good with the keyboard. I'm not very good with actually doing anything to do with keys, so we want this to be nicely on time with the beat, and to do that it's going to loop over, and I can play one drum or two drums at a time. For example, in the first pass I intend to record a bass and snare. In the second pass I intend to record a hi-hat. So we'll hit the record button, and what we should actually have in just a moment, right, that's open. Yes, we need to view the MIDI keyboard first. Sorry about this. View virtual MIDI keyboard, or Alt and B, and see if I click on the keys, it shows you what drums are playing and so on. So if I go, that's me pressing these corresponding keys, Z and C, on the actual keyboard itself. Now if we go back to the beginning, hit record, we'll get our 2 bars counting, which will give me a chance to actually click something on here, because once I've clicked off of here, any keys that I press on my keyboard don't come out. So we want that counting to give us a chance to just go like this, and it arms the keyboard. So let's hit record and get ourselves a nice little drum beat. So first pass I'm going to do bass and snare, second pass I'm going to do hi-hats. Hold on a minute, I wasn't quite with it there. I didn't press anything to arm the keyboard, so let's go for it. So let's get ready for the hi-hats. Now we're going to stop there, and we're going to go into here, because we can hear that some of the hi-hats are slightly out. Some of them sound quite good with being slightly out. We're going to move them around. There we go. And we've got ourselves a nice little drum loop. Now, if I put the mouse above the line here on the time bar, I can use the scroll button to zoom in or out, and we're going to zoom out here, and we're just going to loop this. So that way, if we turn the metronome off, we can go back to the beginning, and we'll turn looping off. As you can see, it's playing along. Now, so we don't get confused, we're going to type in drums here. Now, I've set this up so that my shortcuts do this, but if you right click, you can go track color, set tracks to custom color. I always like to do this and make sure that everything's a different color, and set up an icon. And here we can actually put in drums. So I've already loaded up drum kits and things like this, so that I've got my own little symbols. What I'm going to do on this track is we're going to put a bass line in. So we'll type bass in here, and yet again I'm actually going to put a MIDI bass in. Yeah, I have got a real bass guitar. I do play bass guitar, but like I said, I want to take this opportunity to show you some of the things that you can do with Reaper. So on the input, we're going to select MIDI again. This time I'm going to select my external MIDI and use my actual keyboard, which you can't see. It's just over here. You might be able to see the end of it. If we go to the effects button, and we're going to put ample P-Light 2. This is yet another freebie. Now I'm going to shift this over a little so I can arm the track, and you'll be able to hear. So we're going to try and record a little loop with that. With this loop, it's not going to be like the previous one where it's a MIDI overdub. What we're going to do is we're going to try and just create a little loop. We want one shot at this. We've got the 2 bar count in. So we'll increase this a few bars and try and actually get really our best take. Yet again, because I'm not very good with my timing with regards to keyboard, we're going to quantize and to 16ths. There we go. So we'll get rid of the virtual MIDI keyboard. We don't need that anymore. We can hit record. We'll have our 2 bar count in, and then I'll start playing on the keyboard. Well, aha, yes, I forgot about that. So we do need the metronome on for that. So okay, so we'll click save, and the first couple of run-throughs weren't that great, so we'll go to roundabout there, and we'll have a listen to how this particular loop sounded. If you notice, what I did there is when you go to the beginning of the track, the cursor changes, and you can drag the start of the track and the end. Now if we have a quick listen to this as a loop, turn looping on, and we make sure that the selection is literally just now, like I said about my timing, so we can go in, we can move this around a little, so we can go. There we go, and that's what we want. Now if I right click and select glue on this, glue items, it turns that into a loop as well. So because it kind of gets rid of the beginning and the end. So as you can see, that's all looped through now. So let's go to the beginning, take the looping off, and hit play. There we go. So we want to take the record arm off both of these tracks. Double click up here, or is it right click up here and press escape? Actually, that gets rid of the loop. Double click down here, and we're going to add a guitar track. Now, there's lots of ways of doing your guitar. Some people like to go down the traditional route of the miking up an amp and so on. Some people like to go down the route of DIing and using the yes, an amp simulator. Now, an amp simulator I particularly like is called Vox and Go, by Boogex, even by a company called Vox and Go. So we're going to choose one of their presets of Crispy Crunch, and we'll get my guitar out and we'll go. So there we go. So we'll use that to record something over the top of it. Now what this allows us to do is to actually record the guitar clean and change the sounds later, which is something you can't do if you go down the traditional route of the mic and so on. So we don't want the count in here. What we're going to do is we're going to allow the bass to come in with the drums, and then we'll record the guitar a little bit in just a moment. So So we don't really want loads of recording done, but this is just to show you some of the basics. Now, if I actually go and turn the effect off and play this back, you can hear the guitar's clean, which allows us to change amp simulators and basically do whatever we want with what we're doing. So I haven't really written anything here. This is not a song that I've pre-created. So the vocal line that we're going to do here is going to be, well, a bit terrible. It's not going to be planned. It's just going to be something to just show you some of the things that we can do. So let's set up the vocal channel. And like I say, I like to use these colors. It helps me when I'm mixing later on, especially seeing as I tend to explode the drums out. So I've got 8 tracks of drums. I'll have a bass, I'll have 2 guitars, I might have 3 sets of vocals, and color coding each of them helps me see quite easily what's what and so on. Now, if you particularly like what you've got with one of the tracks, like the guitar, if you like the sound and the inputs and the levels and so on, then you can right click and you can go save track as template. And as you can see, I have a lot already saved. So you can go electric guitar, and then if we go down to a blank space here, right click, you can go insert track from template, and then choose one of your templates. So electric guitar, and there we go. It's opened up the electric guitar, same colors, same effects, same everything, but we don't want to do that at the moment, so we'll delete it. Let's grab a mic. We'll go 1, 2. Hey, hey, hey. We've got a good strong signal there, so that's good. We'll skip right back to the start and we'll hit record. Obviously, I would normally have the speakers off. I'd stick my headphones on, but we don't really want this to be perfect. We're just doing a quick recording to show you how to go about things. So we've hit that to arm the recording. We've selected the input from our menu down here. Sorry, that's opened up the effects from the guitar channel, which we don't want. And we are good to go. So let's hit record. Hit record and play that song when you wanna sing along with me. Like I say, I didn't intend to do anything particularly fancy or as you can see, it is fairly quiet. What you can do is you can double click and normalize to which, seeing as this is actually the the lead vocals, so we might do that. So hit record and play that song when you wanna sing along with me. So what I would do now is add effects to the vocals. So first, I like to put a bit of EQ on. As we're just doing this quickly, what we do is I like to find a preset that works and then mess around with it. So here we're going to go with the wide male vocals. Have a little listen from here. But you can mess around with it and have a listen. You can do whatever you like there. But for the moment, we will just use the preset. And then I like to use rear comp. Some people like to use a different compressor, like the 1175 compressor. So there are plenty of types of compressors, but we want to keep this as basic as possible. So rear comp, and we'll go for aggressive vocals. So we've put on my best rocky voice. If you wanted to at this point, you could add reverb and delay and so on there, but I prefer to do a bus because that way we can keep the same reverb and so on for every vocal line that we add to it. So what we'll do is I'll show you how to create a bus. So we'll double click here. We'll call this one reverb, and we'll go color pink, icon, and reverb, open. There we go. And if we go to the effects, so I need to expand this window a little so the effects shows. Yet again, everybody has their own preferences. I like to keep with the Reaper plugins because that means no matter who I'm actually working with, we can always send things to each other and we don't need to worry about us having the same plugins. The settings are all the same and so on. Reverbate is one of the favorites for absolutely everyone. So let's have a look at so we'll go for intimate vocals. We'll turn the dry right down and the wet to 0. Now from the Vox, click on the root button, and as soon as if you keep your left mouse button down, you can just drag and drop to there, and there we go. It's brought up a little levels sort of thing. So if we have a list, if we solo the vocals and solo the reverb,
Record and play that song when you wanna sing along with me.
so there we go. As you can hear, it's put the reverb on,
Record and play that song
and
when you want.
the fader for the reverb controls the reverb level. Now we're going to do the same with some delay here. That delay, excuse the terrible spelling, and yet again we're going to have this in the same pink because it's one of our effects. So effects, delay. See, I'm just searching for them in the filter because I know exactly what I want to go for. Rear delay. I like to just use the vocal fattener. It's a nice little delay. It's not too in your face. Sometimes on certain songs I'll choose other things and I'll add my taps, but like I say, this is to try and show you as simple as possible. Yet again, click on the root button and bring it down, and there we go. And if we now click on the root button here, you can see our sends. We can control how much is being sent to each, or if you click on the root for the delay, you can see what's being sent to the delay and control it from there. So so we'll solo the delay and we'll have a listen to just the vocals.
Record and play that song when you wanna sing along with me.
Right, so if we take everything off solo, and there we go. So what we can do here is we can save this as a template. So save track as a template, and we'll call this Vox1 just for the sake of this. And then we can insert track from template, go down to Vox1, and there we go. We've got another of the same vocals with with everything other than the sends. What we'll do here is we'll just record a little backing vocals just so that you can see why I use the delays and so on. So here we go. Yeah, 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 yeah. So just a few yes. It was a bit quiet, so we can turn that up by just click on this red line and turn it up. Yet again, use the root button, that root, click, drag, drop. Okay, and then we can have a listen. And there we go. Yeah, so that's the basic principles of recording a song. Now, if all of these bits are exactly as you like, you can control click A, click on the track selection panel, control click A, right click, and save tracks as track template. And you can go song, and it will save the entire thing as a song. As a template. So when you go and load your templates up, you can load the template for a full song. As you can see here, I've got ones for gigs, vocal recordings with 2 mics. If you've got any questions, if you want to see any other videos of how to do anything in particular with getting started, feel free to comment below, send me a message, and I hope you found this helpful.